There's this quiet revolution happening in the aquarium hobby. We're moving way beyond just having a simple glass box in the corner. We're not talking about creating living art, a complete thriving ecosystem that's designed just for you. And what used to be a super niche, high-end service, well, now it's becoming the standard for anyone who's serious about their underwater world. Come on, you've seen them online, right? Those absolutely gorgeous tanks that look like a perfect slice of a coral reef. And you think, I want that. But then that little voice of doubt creeps in. You start worrying about it being a high-maintenance nightmare, a constant battle with algae, or even worse, a tank full of unhappy fish. That anxiety is totally real, and it's exactly what we're going to break down today.
Okay, this slide really gets to the heart of it all. On the one hand, you've got the standard approach. You buy a tank, then you try to Frankenstein together a bunch of mismatched parts. And honestly, it's usually a recipe for a headache. But on the other side, you've got custom design. We're talking about a fully integrated system, personalized for you, and engineered from day one to actually succeed.
So to really get why custom design is such a game changer, we first have to talk about the problem. Let's call it the glass box problem. It's where so many of us start, and sadly, it's often where a lot of aquarium dreams go to die. Just think about it for a second. The moment you buy a standard, off-the-shelf tank, you're already making compromises. It's like having this big, beautiful vision in your head, all the amazing fish and plants you want, and then trying to cram it all into a box that was never made for it. You're working backward, and your dream ends up playing second fiddle to the limits of your gear. But what if we just flipped that entire approach on its head? What if we just threw that old way of thinking out the window? Well, that brings us to a whole new design philosophy, one that completely reimagines how an aquarium should come to life.
And here it is. This is the big aha moment. Custom design isn't really about super expensive, fancy tanks. It's a philosophy. It means the whole process starts with you. It starts with your home, your lifestyle, your budget, and most importantly, your vision for the aquatic world you want to create. The equipment is then chosen to serve that vision, not the other way around.
Okay, so that sounds great in theory, right? But how does that philosophy actually turn into a real-life aquarium? Well, it starts by engineering it to fit into your life seamlessly. This is where we get down to the nitty-gritty, practical stuff. A designer looks at your actual reality. How much space do you really have? Where are you going to be looking at the tank from? Is there enough room to get your hands in there to do maintenance? And maybe the most important question of all, how much time do you realistically want to spend on upkeep every week? All of this gets figured out before a single piece of equipment is even on the table. And the payoff for all that planning, it's huge. The goal isn't just a pretty tank that looks good for a week. The goal is a stable, intuitive system that you can actually maintain without it feeling like a second job. It's an aquarium that brings you joy, not one that just adds stress to your life. All right, so once we've designed the tank to fit your life, the next big step is to engineer it to become a thriving, living ecosystem for all of its little inhabitants. And this isn't guesswork. It's a methodical, step-by-step process. First, you define the aquatic goal. Are we building a reef, a planted tank? Then every other decision just flows from that. The filtration and flow are engineered for that specific bioload. The aquascape and lighting are built to support that ecosystem. And finally, everything is integrated into one cohesive system. This chart right here is exactly why the idea of a one-size-fits-all aquarium is a total myth. I mean, just look at the differences. A planted tank needs gentle flow and specific lighting for plants. A reef tank? It needs monster filtration, powerful flow, and crazy intense light. Trying to use the wrong gear for your goal isn't just a bad idea, it's pretty much setting yourself up to fail. And this is where the magic really happens, in the tiny details. You think you're just picking out pretty rocks. Nope, you're actually deciding your water chemistry. Think you can just stick a pump anywhere? Think again. You could be creating dead zones where gunk collects. These aren't just decorative touches. They're absolutely critical pieces of a healthy, functioning system. So I know what you might be thinking. That sounds like a lot of planning. Why go through all that trouble? What's the ultimate promise of doing it this way? I absolutely love this quote because it just nails it. It's a total shift in mindset. We stop seeing the aquarium as just a container you put stuff into, and we start seeing it as one complete interconnected system where every single part matters. So what's the biggest benefit of that approach? It's compatibility. Every single piece is chosen to work in harmony. And when that happens, you get the holy grail of this hobby, stability. That means no more wild, chaotic swings in your water parameters. And that stability is what leads to real long-term success and, actually enjoying your aquarium.
And hey, let's not forget about the future. A really well-designed system plans ahead. It leaves you room to upgrade your filter down the line or makes it easy to swap out your lights. That little bit of foresight can save you from a massive and very expensive headache later on. Okay, so if you're feeling inspired right now, if you're thinking about starting a new tank, or maybe even redoing an old one, what is the single most important first step you can possibly take? This is it. Please resist the temptation to open up a browser and start filling a shopping cart with filters and heaters. The first and by far the most important step is to just sit down and clearly define your vision. What is it you want to create? Once you know that, then you can find the right tools for the job. So let's just end with this one thought to chew on. If there were no limits, no budget, no space constraints, what would your absolute dream aquarium be? A peaceful, zen-like planted tank? A chaotic, bustling reef full of color? Or maybe a dark, moody slice of a South American river? Whatever it is, just remember, the journey starts right there. Not with a purchase, but with that dream.